Hello. I'm Chris, Al Fozzie, as you can see below, and this is not Tom or FPL Cruyff. This is obviously Neale, the editor of Fantasy Football Scout, who is with me to do the team news. As you don't see me that often, you can tell this is not my foray and my forte rather. So I do apologise for some technical hitches. Some of the team are off at that Fantasy Football Fest, which is a live fantasy football event get together, which is good. They've miraculously decided to put live on the day of the deadline, so that's good. We're not going there, Neil, are we? We're here working, right?
Nope. I wish I was Tom, by the way. I wish I had his track record. Sadly, I'm a C-list manager.
You by no means silly. Tom. One thing about Tom, it has been noted that Tom looks a little bit like a character from Ted Lasso. Answers in the thread. Anyway, enough of that. We haven't got much time for the deadline, so no fraternisation. Let's crack straight in, and hopefully this is gonna kind of work. So let us start. We'll start from top. We'll start with Arsenal. We've got an Arsenal a pitch up there. What is going on?
Yeah, very interesting. The team news came out yesterday, so after our face to media Thursday morning, we had a sort of nice and simple update from the medical department. Seemed like it was same old. Gabriel, Thomas Partey, and Nketiah, all injuries we knew about, they're all ruled out. And then a bombshell today from David Ornstein at The Athletic, who said that not just Aubameyang but Lacazette as well are both going to miss out tonight against Brentford through illness. We don't know the details beyond that, and it is just reportage for now. It's not confirmed by Arsenal, but you'll have seen the flags go on by now, I'm sure. So yeah, a fairly simple predicted lineup has suddenly become a bit more complex because we're not sure. Obviously, Nketiah's out as well. They've got Balogun, who's untested. They've got Willian, who's played as a false nine before. So Saka, of course, can come in. He's had a very short pre-season because of his Euro 2020 involvement, but he might be fast-tracked into that team as a result of those two illnesses. So yeah, very, very interesting and bodes well for Brentford as well. A good time to play Arsenal.
Yeah, is there any Brentford news? Have we got anything particular on Brentford?
Yeah, the big one, Tony, who I think is now still the most owned forward in the game by a margin now, I think. He's fine. He's definitely going to start. Thomas Frank is the FPL manager's friend in that regard. He told us nice and simple, he's going to play. They got two injuries. One we knew about. Josh Da Silva is a longer term one, and Jensen as well, who picked up an injury in Euro 2020, hasn't recovered from that foot wound, and he's out. But the big one, of course, is Tony starting. So, given the number of forwards who have fallen by the wayside of the mid-price bracket, I'm sure his ownership's going to increase further ahead of the deadline as well.
Yeah, there should have been. I've realised I've got a quote there. Sorry, I've realised I've put these in absolutely the wrong order, like a complete melon. But there you go. First error. I like the fact. I think when we had Tony Starks, we really should have had an Iron Man picture in there. There was an opportunity there which we failed. Tony Starks. But yeah, I have had Tony in multiple of my drafts. I'm still not finished with my drafting. Oh God, I haven't even started fan team yet. I haven't got much time to go, have we? So moving right along, we're doing this alphabetically. Done Arsenal and Brentford. Let's have a look at the very well sort of backed team now. Look at Villa. What's going on there? What's going on with the villains?
Yeah, so mixed news, I suppose. Buendia and Bailey both past fit. Bailey hasn't had any pre-season minutes for Villa, so you'd think maybe bench duty at first. But Buendia's obviously he's had a bit of pitch time before he got his minor injury. He's declared fit. Watkins is the main one, really, the outstanding issue. A bit of a halfway house from Smith, really, not the clear-cut answer we were hoping for. Watkins has got a bruised knee, and they're going to see how he feels today, see if he's in pain. If he's free of that, then he will train and obviously be involved in tomorrow's match. But the flag remains on because there is that element of doubt, and that has really, not just the injury, but the Ings arrival as well, has really damaged his popularity in FPL. I mean, he was the most owned forward in the game about a week or so ago.
Yeah.
Now I think it's below 10% or something. So he's almost in differential territory. But
I know it's going to be so many changes. It's going to be like, I know there's obviously template sides, but I've seen we had a video from a certain Mr. Mark Sutton's young lad doing quite well in fantasy. I think he's got a future ahead of him. But I've been watching his teams. He did an exclusive team reveal of where he is at the moment. This just about an hour or so ago, which members of FS can check out. And wow, yeah, he might have been changing a few of his decisions. If you've been watching Black Box, he might have changed a few decisions. But I don't think everybody I know, all major kind of players, managers are fluctuating quite a lot right now. I have had Buendia in and out. I'm gonna have Buendia and Ings at different times. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get Martinez is good though, right? He's nothing wrong with Martinez.
Yeah, he hasn't had much pre-season time, but of course he's been away at the Copa America, formed very well there, and he made the scout picks this week. The same old template team from last season.
Safe, isn't it?
Coming over to this year, so he's between the sticks for the scout picks this week.
And before we move on, just sticking to their rivals, anything notable from Watford?
Yes, I mean obviously not from an FPL perspective because they're so low owned, but three players ruled out. Chalabau's got an illness. Two forwards as well. Josh King, who is of course joined from Everton, and Joao Pedro is out with a knee problem. But Domingo Esquina and Adam Messina are both back in training. So
I know you say that. I know you say it's not high fantasy relevance, but there are a lot of filler players going around. I had Pedro at one point when I was trying to find a way of making up my forward line but that's good to know. Okay, let's shift onto the bees now. I know it's not the absolute biggest, but let's go into Brighton, who are playing against Burnley. Way to Burnley. A lot of people obviously following playing Sanchez this week.
He's fine, which is good, of course. But of course, then there's the defence in front of him, which is a bit decimated now. We've got Ben White away at Arsenal. Lamptey we knew about was always going to miss game week 1. Dan Burns joined the list of injuries as well. Duncan Webster are fit, but they've only just come back to training. I think they've had one involvement in a pre-season friendly, so not the ideal preparations really for a run of clean sheets is what we're hoping, because they've got some really good fixtures. They're also missing Danny Welbeck further forward. They've got the backup goalkeeper as well, Sherpin, who's joined this summer. He's out. Caicedo as well, he's out. So they've got a half dozen or so out. Still a strongish looking side. I mean, I saw a couple of people saying on Twitter that it's a system-led team. You know, they can sort of fit in different positions. White's departure may seem like a big blow on paper, but Veltman's an absolute natural that right-sided centre-half role. They've got, Gross has played at wing-back. Wetto has played in wing-back in pre-season. So they've got players who are utility men, really. So might take a little while for them to sort of get the impressive stats we saw last season, but it's still a competitive 11 on paper. When I look at the predicted lineup, it's still like a decent side.
Yeah, and Burnley away should be. It's not going to be a high-scoring game. Well, you say. I mean, Chris Wood, Super Chris Wood, who came to our teams. Maybe he'll be back. Anything from a Burnley side we need to know about?
Yeah, I think a couple of weeks ago we weren't expecting Wood to be taking part in game week 1 because he was away with New Zealand at the Olympic Games. But he's much like Richarlison, who we'll come on to in a sec.
Yeah.
He's made a swift return back to the UK, put himself in contention. Has already played a pre-season friendly. Dyche said yesterday he's raring to go, so he could be straight back on the team from game week 1. They're only missing 2 backup players, Long and Stevens.
Yeah.
Loughton is fine. Now that's important to an extent, because I think a few people were getting excited about the prospect of Bardsley, who's a 4 million FPL defender, getting some game time, but Loughton was merely self-isolating because I think he'd been in contact with a family member who tested positive for COVID, so he's back. And they've got Pope as well, came back last week from his injury, so pretty much a full strength starting 11.
Could be. I'm not predicting high scoring here, but you never know, do you, these sort of games? But yeah, I'm a lot of Sanchez owners will be hoping it stays nice and tight. Okay, moving on. Let's go some bigger teams. Let's go to Chelsea then. Obviously they've just played about 6,000 minutes just 2 days ago. Doesn't seem like the ideal preparation for your first match of the season, but and obviously you've got an incoming striker as well who won't be playing today. But
that's right. Yeah, Lukaku wasn't signed in time. He's got a quarantine for a couple of days. So game week 2 is when we're looking at him. I'm sure there'll be a few wild cards flying around next week, trying to squeeze him in. Few injuries of note from that Super Cup, which you mentioned there. Ziyech is out for 2 weeks. He was brilliant in pre-season. I think he would have been in the scout picks, had he not picked up that shoulder problem. He's out. Kante's got an issue, which he picked up in that Wednesday game in Belfast as well. Abraham's fine, but I think as important as the injury news is the fact that Chelsea's got a friendly on Sunday, which is very odd. A post-season friendly almost, or an inter-season friendly. Yeah, against Weymouth. It's apparently it's designed to get minutes into the legs of players who've come back late. So the likes of Chilwell and I think Reece James haven't actually taken to the pitch yet. There's another 4 who haven't started. I think Azpilicueta, Thiago, they came on. I think Mount came on in midweek. Few of them might feature tomorrow, but that Sunday friendly seems to be what the Chelsea top brass have designed to get them up to speed. So maybe a lot of them won't feature prominently until game week 2 onwards.
Any silverware up for grabs in the Weymouth Challenge Trophy, do you think? Or no, fair enough. Yes, 2 things. I wanted to ask actually quickly. Ben White, been in a lot of drafts as well. Were we expecting him to start? I didn't ask you during the.
Ben White, yeah, I'll be very, very positive about it. I think Rob Holding, who was his positional rival, Arteta said he wasn't fit enough to play against Spurs last weekend, despite the pre-season. So yeah, I've got no doubt White's going to start tonight.
Fair enough. Let's go on to Everton next. It's been told by Brad in the chat I should take deeper breaths. Apologies if I'm a bit hyper and speaking very quickly. Last week has been absolutely insane. I've not had a lot of sleep, and in the last hour and a half of how to YouTube reminder has been quite a fun and engaging period, but maybe not the ideal time to do it. But I will try and take some deep breaths and let Neil. It's all about what Neil has to say, really. No one cares what I think. So Everton, we've got Richarlison, DCL there, both in contention, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, again, as I said before, Richarlison we weren't expecting back so soon, but he's had a busy summer. He's played in not just the Olympics, but the Copa America as well, so he hasn't had a break. But he's put himself in contention for this. I guess on the opposite end of the scale, Richarlison's had a lot of minutes in the last month. Calvert-Lewin's had barely any, in fact none in pre-season, and Knock ruled them out of last weekend's game. But he's been past fit anyway, so he'll feature in some capacity, whatever that is, maybe manage minutes. Okay. Not great news really from Everton. We've heard that James is definitely out. He's one of 5 players who are isolating because of COVID. I'm not sure if they're all positive tests or whether they're just close contacts. Now, Benitez wouldn't name the rest, but he did say that it was 2 from, it's like Cluedo, 2 from 3 of Gomez, Gabamin and Moise Keane. Okay. So that's 3 we know of with Rodriguez, and there's obviously 2 more who are a bit of a worry. Unnamed parties, so prepare ourselves for a no-show, surprise no-show to Goodison. But yeah, Richarlison, DCL are back, of course, which is good. And they've been sort of bolstered by Gray and Townsend in pre-season as well. Yeah, both of them look pretty good actually. Gray especially.
Gray's looked great in pre-season. I think of the 2, both something. I'm an Everton fan myself, so it's something we definitely needed with some pace. I don't think James is going to be here that much longer, so I don't think he's a mission. Same with Keane potentially if Inter stumble up the cash. But what about Digne? We not obviously we don't know who those 2 players are missing are, but obviously Digne's in quite a lot of sides.
I did see someone shout out to FPL Virgin on Twitter who put out an image. It was Digne meeting a fan in public, which suggests he's not self-isolating. Hopefully that was a recent photo of not being hoodwinked by the internet, that most trusted of sources. But hopefully he's all right. And
anything from Southampton of note? Obviously, if Everton are a bit decimated, we're not, their strikers maybe not, well, Richarlison should be sharp, but DCL not. Is there any positive news for Southampton, or anything we should be aware of? There's not a lot of ownership, but.
Yeah, they've. I mean, Ward-Prowse was the big one. He was flagged all pre-season, but he's been past fit by Hasenhüttl, and given his natural fitness levels, unlike a lot of players we've mentioned who haven't had pre-season minutes, you think Ward-Prowse just comes straight back in. He's Mr. Ever present for Southampton. I think it's just small bone in terms of injuries. I mean, they do have 2 new signings, Adam Armstrong and Armando Broja as well from Chelsea. Hasenhüttl seems to be suggesting that they're not quite ready to feature. They're still sort of being embedded into the club. So again, game week 2, I think, for a lot of those. But yeah, of course, they've had the spine ripped out to an extent. Ings is gone. Vestergaard's on his way to Leicester as well. And Ward-Prowse is a bonus, him being back, because had he been out, then that would have been the
Isn't-
middle ripped out
Isn't
of
there
that side.
some
So,
speculation around him though? Transfer speculation around
yeah,
Walcott?
yeah. Hasenhüttl addressed it yesterday. He said he didn't think he's going to go anywhere, but of course that's posturing and manoeuvring and trying to get an extra couple of zeros onto the price tag, I'm sure. But they can't really afford to lose too many more players because, I know they've reinvested the money to an extent, but asking a lot of Armstrong to sort of replicate what Ings has been doing for the last 2 seasons.
Still got Adams. He looks all right. It's good in the Euros as well. On to Leicester then. So a lot of conversation around Harvey Barnes. Very very highly picked. Obviously Iheanacho, Vardy as well. What have you got to say here?
Yeah, injury wise, it's Evans, Justin, and Fofana. They're sort of longer term ones. Evans back after the international break. Castanier's in training with a mask on. Of course, he fractured his eye socket in Euro 2020. He's going to be assessed. I think it's just a fitness issue now. But yes, Barnes is a big one. Was mentioned yesterday by Rodgers. I mean, you can read these quotes in any way you want, really. Rodgers said that he wasn't physically up to speed yet, but then went on to say he's improving day by day. He started the last 3 games for Leicester, including the Community Shield and then the 2 pre-season friendlies before that. So he's probably stating the obvious. He isn't up to speed because he's had so long on the sidelines, but he's still able to play, just probably not the full 90 minutes. And that's always been the case with Barnes. He's always been hoiked early off the pitch.
Yeah.
So you could be looking at 60, 70 minutes again against Wolves, but hopefully that's enough time to do a bit of damage because I think I'm going to start a season with him.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to start with him. Anyone else? Any news on Iheanacho or anything else?
Not from. Rodgers did say that he's going to rotate a lot with his strikers this year. That Patson Daka was brought in to give Vardy more of a rest because they're similar players, play off the last man, pacey. But what I will say is, if you follow the pre-season tab, Rodgers has turned to a 4-2-3-1 in the last 3 games. There's only room for 1 striker.
Yeah,
and they've got 3. So Iheanacho is looking increasingly unlikely to start, or at least be guaranteed to start, with Perez and Maddison and Barnes behind Vardy.
Good to know. He's in my team at the moment, so that's very bit of personal information there. That's great. Okay, let me go through up to Liverpool now. So obviously Robertson's out, and anything else of note?
Not really, no. Chris, Curtis Jones has got concussion; he'll miss out. But yeah, Robertson's out till it's either just before or just after the international break, which guarantees Tsimikas, you'd think 2 or 3 starts. I know Milner can play at left back, but he hasn't done in pre-season. So fingers crossed, Volo's taking a punt on Tsimikas. Apart from that, nothing much. Klopp talking about Thiago and Henderson being laid back for pre-season. They thought maybe benchings for them. Van Dijk, he said, could have played 90 minutes last weekend in the pre-season friendly, so I would think he's pointing us towards a start at Norwich. Yeah. But Salah and Mane have had full pre-seasons. Jota's played mostly with them too, and Firmino is back, but he hasn't actually played with Salah and Firmino this summer, so obviously he's got the years of know-how with those two, but maybe Jota's slightly ahead of Firmino in terms of pre-season prep.
I think there's been a lot of people with Tsimikas in the side. What about Norwich? Anything from their opponents? Obviously, you're not expecting a lot of points from. You got Pukki back, obviously, in the Premier League. Will there be a Pukki party?
If he even attends, I think he probably will because he's been one of the number of players they've had affected by COVID, either directly or indirectly, via self-isolation or a positive test. He's back. They're all back, I think, apart from Placheta, who's not going to make it. It's just a match fitness issue for a lot of those players. Cantwell should be fine. He had a knock, but he's all right. And I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. I'm appalled to say Omo Bamidele, I think, the centre-half, the 4 million defender who's played 100% of Norwich's minutes in pre-season. Everyone getting very excited about that. He got tonsillitis. And is a doubt now for the Liverpool game. So, and it could be another 4 million dream dashed, like the rest of them.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's going to be. Well, you could take a punt on a 4 million player. You can't be too upset if they're not playing. Right?
Exactly.
Okay. On more hitters now. Man City. There's De Bruyne. Not on the pitch though, right? So, what are we expecting from? Well, who knows what we're expecting? What's your best guess of Pep Roulette this week?
Well, I think we can probably guarantee Mahrez starts and Diaz and a couple of others who featured prominently in pre-season, Gundogan as well. The rest of them is the usual guessing game. I mean, a lot of them haven't had any minutes whatsoever. I think there's 8 in total who haven't had, and these are like senior players. These aren't backups. De Bruyne amongst them, but he's still a doubt for the start of the season because of his injury picked up in the Euros. At least he's training, and Guardiola says they're going to monitor him over the next couple of days. Foden's out a bit longer than that. I think he's looking at September as well. And as for the rest, Pep says we're going to need a bit of time to get it back to full speed. Grealish, of course, got some minutes in the Community Shield. I think took about 25 minutes or so. Pep says he's going to need time as well to get back up to speed, but they are short of options. And in attack especially, they did have the likes of Mendy, Ake, Diaz back in pre-season in good time, but Mahrez for a long time was the only senior attacker playing in pre-season. It was a load of youngsters playing alongside him. Gradually, we've got some bodies back. Grealish being amongst them, but that's why
there's a few people taking punts on Torres. I think a few.
Yeah, Torres featured up front in the sort of false 9 role last
He looked very good at the end of last season, and then
he did. Yeah, he scored a hat-trick against us, I think, in that 4-3 game. So that was, I can again understand. I think Mark was even looking at him in his final draft.
We have to be a member and check out his.
I didn't.
But that's fine. But I think we can. There's some interesting picks there. There's definitely some interesting picks if you want to see what Mark's doing, or indeed what the Hall of Fame. We got the top 5 Hall of Famers shared their, near final draft. That's pretty incredible. That was a hell of an article. It made me change everything about three more times. And obviously City are playing Spurs. Presumably Kane-less. Presumably Son up top. Well, do we know anything else about the Spurs?
Yeah, Nuno was asked repeatedly about Kane, as you would expect in the press conference. Said they're going to have to be careful of players who've just returned to training, and Kane has just returned to training. Romero being another one, Brian Gale as well, the new 6 million midfielder. So once more, I think it's going to be a case of either game week 2 appearances or managed minutes this weekend, substitute roles for a lot of these players. Kane's only had a few days training, and Son's done so well as an out of position striker in pre-season.
Yeah,
I think really 3 goals, 4 assists, something like that. Playing up top, so there's no need to rush Kane back, even if he's in the picture at all. So I think in terms of injuries, not much to report. Tanganga should be fine. He's been playing at right back, or did play at right back last weekend. And Ndombele is not in the picture. I think there's some sort of behind the scenes stuff going on there, but injury wise, very little to report. It's just match fitness really for the likes of Kane and Romero.
Could be an interesting game, that I think. A bit hard to call exactly because who's going to play and what's going to happen.
Yeah.
From City across Manchester to United. Obviously, got the new boy Sancho is at the club. Is he going to start?
Classic Solskjaer, starting as means to go on. Said he couldn't tell us. He will be involved.
Swine.
He's definitely going to be involved. He's had a bit of a disruptive pre-season. He had, of course, the Euro involvement. But then I think had an illness when he came back from holiday. So, but he has trained, and Solskjaer said he's done really well. So he's going to be in the squad. 3 of them won't be in the squad, and that's Diallo, Eric Bailly, and Cavani. They are isolating from their trips back from far-flung corners of the world. Rashford and Telles, of course, are out as well. Henderson and Lingard were struggling from the after effects of COVID. Henderson, I think, was. Lingard was merely isolated. I think he hasn't really been affected by that much, but Henderson certainly has been. So they've got a lot of maybes and 3 red flags, of course, with the aforementioned quarantining bunch.
Fair enough. Okie dokie. And Leeds, they're playing obviously United home to Leeds. Anything we need to know about a Leeds team? We got Fina's very highly selected, and Bamford's in quite a few teams as well. Yeah. Both of those have featured in pre-season. No fitness doubts surrounding them that I've seen. Certainly not declared in Bielsa's presser. The only absentee is Llorente, confirmed absentee. He's got a knee problem. He's going to sit out for a couple of weeks. Shackleton Firpo, the new left back, so Alioski replacement. He's declared available, so it remains to be seen whether he's match fit enough for Bielsa's exacting standards. Phillips is the other one. He's not injured. He's just been laid back from England duty. And he only played 45 minutes in pre-season. Bielsa said he's done well. He's trying to catch up on his fitness, but has not had the required time to get fully up to speed. So
We know how much fitness is a key component of that Leeds side. So, he's something who doesn't take risks on players who are half-baked. But Bamford and Rafinha, they should be fine.
Fair enough. And so let's move on to the final match, which features your own boys there, Newcastle. What have we got there? It's Wilson will picked.
Yeah, Wilson and St Maximin came back last weekend. They had injuries and illnesses, very, very minor things, but they were back last weekend. We've got a goalkeeping, I would say, crisis of sorts. We've got Dubravka was definitely out. Darlow was almost certainly out. He's had COVID and been really badly hit by it. Hospitalised, I think, at one point. So Freddie Woodman, who's been cheekily priced up by FPL at 4.5, belatedly. Had he been priced up before that, I'm sure he would have been 4 million. But of course, he's going to start this weekend. So they've added a £500,000 onto his tag, which is fair enough, I suppose. And he's a good keeper as well, to be fair to him. He's unlucky not to have had a chance before now. So he's going to start. And apart from that, Dummett, I think, is the only absentee. He's just one of our many centre halves, so nothing major.
And what about the Willock? Obviously, transferring across. I had him at the end of last season. I was at Fulham, saw him score at Fulham in a live match. It was a very great experience. But did he get registered in time to start or not?
We don't know yet. We're hoping to get him registered by midday. I'll check now on Newcastle's website. Nothing's been confirmed yet, I don't think. So you have to get him registered by midday on a Friday in order for him to be eligible for the weekend's game. We're playing on Sunday, which may help. But I would suspect he'll be a bench option anyway. He'll have only just joined.
It's an incredible scoring record, though. I mean, his record towards the end of last season, it wasn't quite a goal a game, but it wasn't far off. It was.
It was. Was it a goal a game? His last 7 appearances, he was scoring at that rate, and a lot of those goals came from the bench. Oddly, he had to do a lot to get into Bruce's starting 11. Kept scoring off the bench, and then eventually got his chance. This time, of course, I think it's just a lack of training with the team, match fitness perhaps as well. He will be a cornerstone of our midfield for weeks to come.
I think he'll be a fabulous asset. A lot of people are looking at it because if he can continue that sort of form, and obviously Newcastle home to West Ham on Sunday. So what about the Hammers? A lot of number of Ben Rama's been very popular. Soufal as well, and others. What any news there we need to know?
Yeah, just pretty low key really. Moyes always says there's knocks and niggles, but doesn't really mean anything. Bonner and Anzino, the two he named, again, not names people's going to be bothered about and probably won't be starters anyway. Everyone else is seemingly fine. All had good pre-seasons, Benrahma especially, Antonio as well. And the likes of Souček and Rice and Kufal all came back in the final pre-season friendly. I think got an hour each and sort of slotted straight back into that team. So it's much as we were last season for West Ham, because they haven't really signed anybody bar Areola. So nice and good. I can understand why people are going for them in game week 1 because it's established names in an established team with the same manager and good fixtures. So that's hence the attraction.
Cool. I think the only team we didn't mention was Wolves. I guess is Jimenez been playing pre-season? Is he back in our thoughts or too early to say?
He is. Yeah, I think from game week 4 they've got some really good fixtures, and this is a nice sort of audition period really. First 3 game weeks, see what he's doing. He's been back in pre-season for a while. Yeah, he's the new coach. Bruno has switched to a Nuno-esque 3-4-3 lately. So it's been him with Trincao and Traore either side of him. And his manager said the day that he's fit and raring to go. No word on Semedo. I didn't see, and Semedo was isolating, I believe, last weekend because of a close contact. But from what the Express and Star said, the local rag there, they were expecting him to be fit for this weekend, and he's one to watch. Semedo this season looks very, very good. Yeah, and an attacking team, especially in a fan team. If you're playing that, he's 4.5 million on that. He looks like a bargain. And,
I will be playing fan team. I've got to make a flipping selection, so I'm going to have to get off this in a minute. But that's good. No, thank you so much, Neil. Just to realise, I've turned up on the screen. All of Neil and the team's latest insights on injuries and predicted selections and various other bits and pieces are all in our team news and predicted lineups tab. So keep an eye on them. It is the best on the net. It just is. No doubt about that. And also, if you haven't already signed up as a member, then you should, because it's only 20 quid. The price is going to go up at some point very soon, probably the weekend, to the normal £25. But it's 20 quid right now. You get loads more insight from experts like Neale. We have the whole Hall of Fame game week 1, all the top 5 of the Hall of Fame given their drafts, which is pretty useful if you want to compete with the big boys, as well as Mark Sutton's unveiling his latest draft as well. Loads more drafts, loads of articles, loads of data and tools to explore, including the New Look members area, the transfer planner. There's so much great stuff. Check it out. You can go and find more details on the site. But yeah, I think that's it. That's it for us. Not too long to go. What time is it? I don't know what time it is. It's day 4 o'clock. 2.5 hours.
Yep.
2.5 hours. Easy. No point starting yet. I might go and have a bath first, and then I'll have a think about it. So good luck with you, all of you, for this first game week. It's going to be just 2.5 hours of tinkering, and then we can all relax and have a well-earned drink and put our feet up and enjoy the first match and our plans for the inevitable game week 2 wildcard. Thanks, Neale, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. We'll be back with more. I'll be back occasionally, but we mainly be Az and the others. We'll be back with more videos starting very soon. So good luck. Enjoy the first game week. Cheers.
Bye bye.